Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As you know that in previous lecture we have discussed types of angina, aim of therapy in angina, and various drugs used to treat angina. These are the drugs which are used to treat a case of angina, and in previous lecture we have discussed in detail nitrates. Now we will discuss the other drugs which are used in case of angina. Now we will discuss role of beta blockers in case of angina. Beta blockers don't dilate coronaries or other blood vessels. Total coronary flow is rather reduced. Why reduced? Due to blockade of dilator beta 2 receptors. However, flow to the ischemic subendocardial area is not reduced because of favorable redistribution and decrease in ventricular wall tension. All beta blockers are nearly equally effective in decreasing frequency and severity of attacks and in increasing exercise tolerance in classical angina. But cardioselective agents like atenolol and metoprolol are preferred over non-selective beta blockers. Because some beta blockers may worsen variant angina due to unopposed alpha receptor mediated coronary constriction, and they may accentuate the coronary spasm. In angina, beta blockers reduce myocardial oxygen demand by their ability to attenuate cardiac responses to adrenergic stimulation. How they will attenuate these responses? They will decrease the heart rate and decrease contractility. So what will happen? There will be decreased oxygen demand. These are important adverse effects which one can experience with beta blockers, and these side effects you have learned in previous lectures. These side effects are hypotension, bradycardia, and symptoms of heart failure, and it may also lead to drowsiness and depression. In previous lectures you have learned about calcium channel blockers, and all of you know very well about types of calcium channel blockers. Mainly there are three types of calcium channel blockers: phenyl alkylamine derivatives, verapamil, and dihydropyridines include nifedipine, and benzothiazepines include diltiazem. But here we will discuss the role of calcium channel blockers in angina, how they play their beneficial role in case of angina. Calcium channel blockers will reduce myocardial contractile force, and when they will reduce myocardial contractile force, what will happen? There will be reduced myocardial oxygen demand, and further inhibition of calcium entry into the arterial smooth muscles will lead to decreased arterial tone, and when there is decreased arterial tone, what will happen? There will be vascular dilatation. Decreased heart rate with verapamil and diltiazem cause further reduction of myocardial oxygen demand. In the working atrial and ventricular fibers, calcium moves in during plateau phase of action potential and will release more calcium from sarcoplasmic reticulum, and then there will be contraction through binding to troponin, and it will allow interaction of myosin with actin, and the calcium channel blockers would thus have negative inotropic actions by blocking all these effects. Role of calcium channel blockers in case of angina is shown in this slide. Here we can see that calcium channel blockers not only decrease the oxygen demand but also increase the oxygen supply. How it will decrease oxygen demand? By decreasing heart rate, by decreasing afterload and preload. So there will be decreased wall stress, and there will be decreased contractility. All these factors are contributing to the decreased oxygen demand. And how it is increasing oxygen supply? By acting on blood vessels. By acting on blood vessels, it will increase oxygen supply of ischemic area. As far as pharmacokinetics of calcium channel blockers are concerned, absorption is nearly complete after oral administration, and bioavailability is reduced by first pass hepatic metabolism. So in case of liver failure, you have to be very careful while administering calcium channel blockers. onset of action is 30 to 60 minutes after oral dose, and calcium channel blockers bind extensively to plasma proteins, almost 70 to 98%. Elimination half-lives vary widely and range from 1.3 to 64 hours. Side effects of calcium channel blockers: dizziness, hypotension, headache, flushing and nausea. They are more with dihydropyridines like with nifedipine. While constipation, peripheral edema, coughing, wheezing, rash, somnolence and occasional minor elevations of liver function test are more with verapamil and diltiazem. In potassium channel opener, nicorandil, this novel anti-anginal drug activates ATP sensitive potassium channels and it will hyperpolarize vascular smooth muscles. The vasodilator action is partly antagonized by potassium channel blockers. Like nitrates, it also acts as nitric oxide donor and it will relax blood vessels by increasing cyclic GNP. In the working atrial and ventricular fibers, calcium moves in during plateau phase of action potential and will release more calcium from sarcoplasmic reticulum, and then there will be contraction through binding to troponin, and it will allow interaction of myosin with actin, and the calcium channel blockers. We have some other drugs which can be used in case of angina: ranolazine and ivabradine. Ivabradine is a late inward sodium current inhibitor, while ranolazine is recently developed trimetazidine congener, and it plays its role in angina in patients who fail to respond to standard anti-anginal therapy. How they play their beneficial role? Ranolazine spares fatty acid oxidation and shifts ATP production to more oxygen efficient carbohydrate oxidation. And it also inhibits late inward sodium current in the myocardium, which indirectly facilitates calcium entry, and reduction in calcium overload in the myocardium during ischemia may play an important role in the cardioprotective action of ranolazine. Dipyridamole. It is a powerful coronary dilator and increases total coronary flow by preventing uptake and degradation of adenosine. What is adenosine? It is a local mediator involved in auto-regulation of coronary flow in response to ischemia. So it will dilate resistance vessels and abolishes auto-regulation but has no effect on larger conducting coronary vessels. And cardiac work is not decreased because venous return is not reduced and BP is minimally altered. It does not afford symptomatic benefit or avert ECG changes of angina. It is a very beautiful diagrammatic representation of coronary hemodynamics. In figure A we can see classical angina, and in figure B selective nitrate action on conducting vessels, which along with ischemic dilatation of resistance vessels increases flow to the subendocardial region, so it will relieve angina. While in figure C we can see the action of dipyridamole. Dipyridamole action is on all resistance vessels, so there will be increased blood flow to non-ischemic zone to the detriment of ischemic zone. So this phenomena is also known as coronary. Mostly we give combination therapies to treat angina. Here we can see why nitrates are combined with beta blockers. The concurrent use of organic nitrates and beta blockers can be very effective in the treatment of typical exertional angina. Beta blockers can block the baroreceptor mediated reflex tachycardia and positive inotropic effects that are associated with nitrates. And nitrates, by increasing venous capacitance, can attenuate the increase in left ventricular and diastolic volume associated with beta blockers. So concurrent administration of nitrates also can alleviate the increase in coronary vascular resistance which is associated with beta blockers. In this slide again, combination therapy of nitrates and beta blockers is explained in a very simple way. that beta blockers prevent reflex tachycardia and contractility, which is produced by nitrate induced hypotension. That is a reflex mechanism. And nitrates prevents any coronary vasospasm, which is expected with beta blockers. And nitrates prevent increase in left ventricular filling pressure or preload resulting from the negative inotropic effects produced by beta blockers. So nitrates and beta blockers both reduce myocardial oxygen consumption by different mechanisms. And nitrates and beta blockers increase subendocardial blood flow by different mechanisms. What will happen if we combine calcium channel blockers with beta blockers? If the patient already is being treated with maximal doses of verapamil or diltiazem, excessive bradycardia, heart block or heart failure may ensue with beta blockers. However, in patients treated with dihydropyridines such as nifedipine or with nitrates, substantial reflex tachycardia often limits the effectiveness of these agents. Then beta blockers may be helpful addition in this situation, resulting in a lower heart rate and blood pressure with exercise. The efficacy of amlodipine is improved by combination with beta blockers. In this slide is shown that what will happen if we give nitrates alone or beta blockers or calcium channel blockers combination, or if we combine nitrates with beta blockers or calcium channel blockers. If we give nitrates alone, then there will be reflex tachycardia, decrease arterial pressure, decrease end diastolic volume, and reflex increase in the contractility of the heart and decrease ejection time. While with beta blockers or calcium channel blockers, what will happen? There will be decreased heart rate, decreased arterial pressure, increase end diastolic volume, and decrease contractility and increase ejection time. If we combine nitrates with beta blockers or with calcium channel blockers, what will happen? There will be decreased heart rate, decreased arterial pressure, and none or decreased end diastolic volume, and no effect on contractility and ejection time.